Guys, I wanted to throw a shout out to T-Rob. He is the new producer of Chatting with the Captain, along with the King, of course. He is the producer of all Discourse Syndicate. But T-Rob is actually producing the show, helping me out, making sure that T's are crossed, I's are dotted, and the Captain doesn't forget all the stuff that he's always been forgetting, like when he books guests and all that kind of stuff. So thank you, T-Rob, for handling business and taking care of me. You are appreciated. When the Highest of Stakes crew came to us and wanted to make a documentary, we got involved. We became producers, executive producers, and we believed in film as being a way to reach the masses in a good way, in a way that print ads and all these other things may not reach audiences. We thought that film would be a great way to do it. So we jumped in with both feet. And that project over the last year has morphed and changed, and our positions in it have changed. We never intended to be like part of the movie in the movie, but turns out we were. I ended up with a pretty significant part in the film, and changed our roles. And now here we are sitting on the precipice of this thing finally coming out and getting run around all kinds of different distribution companies, I guess I call them, that want to take it to the next level and get it to the people and distribute it. So you mentioned, an opportunity for Hexicans to get involved and get not only, tax benefits, but an investment opportunity, and a way to market. Now let's talk a little bit more in depth about actually bringing Hexicans into the film itself, based on, the level of investment that they make, or, maybe just a mass event, like you said, like a concert. Tell me a little bit more about the ideas you guys have for bringing Hexicans actually into the film that want to be part of it that way.
Yeah. So, we all collaborated on this idea, but we really want our investors, especially like in ones in the Hexican community, we'd love to actually for them to help make the movie possible in person. And so the first 30 or so who invest at least $5,000, we have an invitation to join us on set and be in the movie and wearing Hex and Pulse gear in the concert scene, and meet and get to know us and also how the movie gets made. Because I think that was really meaningful part for me as in like a film investor is actually seeing the project come to life and see like, what are my dollars doing? And then we also, like, our sponsorships also have places on set where there could be like banners or gears or stuff for people to see too, that celebrities could see as well. So that's also a part of the sponsorship. So if we're able to like, really send it, we get big talent attached, and then we got this is a lot of sponsorship exposure.
That's right. I'm ecstatic to hang out with Alan Thicke. I've heard good things, and he cracks me up in the chat. How
can they get involved? How do the Hexicans get involved? Do we just go to the firstnamesfilms.com website, or is there a special site for the Hexicans to go to?
So there's two places that I'm typing in the chat here. Hopefully the admins know that they don't delete basketball. So the first link is a link to our Telegram where we're at, and so you can ask us questions and you could read the treatment and see some materials and watch a pitch video on the project. And we actually, Jeff, you should probably at the end of this say what the heck Mooch is about, because that's probably important. It's a great movie, and I think you want to be a part of it. So I just added, t.me/Mooch movie if you want to join our Telegram and like help us make this project possible. And if you want to get gains in a bear market, I recommend investing in this project. If you like film, I recommend investing. If you want to see, your favorite crypto project like Hex or Pulse get some cool promotion, I think you should invest in this project. I think there's a lot of reasons to do it. And then if you're an American, you can just not pay taxes anymore through this system, which I think is pretty cool. And then the second site is firstnamesfilms.com/invest, which is also in our Telegram, but that will basically explain a little bit about our vision for the project. And then you can click if you're ready to go and invest. the minimum is like $1,000, but if you want to donate, you can obviously. We accept crypto as well as USD because I learned DeFi from Richard, and we're implementing it in everywhere we can.
Nice. So they could get in and invest as little as $1,000 in, right?
Yeah, and I'll probably regret making it such a low minimum, but I want a lot of people want to participate, so
It's the last chance it'll be that low.
You will never be able to invest in a movie like this at this low. Like it's insane.
So basically, while I'm bringing this up, I'll just mention that I was really impressed and really happy that Richard Hart tweeted about, the fundamental human rights and privacy aspects of coin mixing. And so I love to see that shit when Richard stands up for human rights, freedoms, and all that sort of shit.
Speaks truth to power.
And speaks truth to power, because he does have influence, he does have a large following, he does have a lot of money. So you want people like that to be standing up to, because it's easy for people with a lot of money to just be like, well, now I'm kind of above the law, I don't need to worry about the little guy anymore. So it's good to see people getting super wealthy and still caring about these things that actually impact the poor more than it impacts the rich. You know what I'm saying?
This is building the new system. The new financial system is what is being built right now.
I love that about Richard, how he speaks for the people. He's a very genuine man.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. So I guess like I was watching this channel on Hedron, and then it sort of like broke below it, but and found like got resisted by it again. But now it just went and started smoking like a couple of days ago. And so it was at this level here at like around 10,000 sats or whatever the equivalent is for, this is USDC. So 10,000 times 10 to the negative 8 cents or dollars or whatever the fuck. And then it just pumped all the way through, just broke all these levels. And I haven't touched these lines for a while, by the way. So it found support on this green line here, which dates all the way back to this fib level.
Oh, okay.
So that looks, and so all of this price action over here, where it was resisting the price, and even look, this level goes as far back, all the way back to the very start.
The very first pump, eh? Yeah.
It was basically the resistance of the very first pump was this green line that we are now finding support on, and you're seeing a nice bounce there. That's significant. That is showing strength on a, if you could use the word historic for an asset this new, but which we probably can in crypto. This is really good news. Some people in finance say first test, best test, and so you want to see that strong bounce off the first time that you go to a key level. So yeah, this is looking strong. This is bullish. This is overall bullish for Hedron.
Awesome.
I'm wondering whether it could be a buy the rumor, sell the news, or how much of it is that.
Well, there was some correlation to other assets, wasn't there? It was sort of going up and down with the other, when HEX was going up and down and when ETH was going up and down a bit. But what's the news that you're talking about?
Well, Acosta launching.
Mods in the chat.
The test net went up. It's all been working really well, and so,
is it going to launch on another chain, or is it going to start on PulseChain? So it's going to do the ETH. It's going to do the ETH thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, look, we could be launching in a matter of days or even week or
That's cool.
Listen on Wednesday. Cool. And that's why I'm thinking it might, because like all of that news, and then the testnet comes out, everyone's using it, it's all working fine. So maybe, like, I don't know how this buy the rumor, sell the news kind of works, but I guess that's what it is. It's like when the stuff is building up and there's anticipation, people buy into that, and then as soon as the news comes out, it's like sell. So
it's a good question from Par Excellence. What about the HEX Hedron liquidity wall, though?
we're about to
before
hit
we
it.
answer that, can I super quickly answer the psychological side of the question that you just asked? Is nothing ever lives up to the expectations that humans build. So the reason why buy the rumor, sell the news works is because when the news comes out and people, it's the Obama shit, right? It's
Okay.
like, oh my,
It's always a bit
God,
disappointing.
shit's going to change this time. And then people realize that the status quo very rarely changes. And then when that realization sets in of like, wait, the world is not a utopia because of ICOSA launching or whatever it is. It's like, boom, people are like, fuck this noise. It's not good enough. And it's never
If that's
good
the
enough.
case, then I think that might not be the case, because I think ICOSA is going to be,
because this really will be,
awesome.
if it really
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Like, it's going to lock
by
up
the way,
so much hedron.
I was only speaking in a general sense there. That's generally how, and I'm not saying that's the full reason why buy the rumor, sell the news. That's just one strong psychological aspect. By the way, not like nothing we ever say on this channel is financial advice, but from a trading perspective, this is actually where you would buy, like this would be a reasonable time to buy hedron, because you've seen how strong this level has been respected. So basically, say this level here you would expect to support the price, but you're really looking at this level here. So you could set a stop loss somewhere below 15,000. So your risk would be something like this.
And
so
the upside is
like 20% downside risk for like, and in crypto,
massive,
it's always unlimited upside. And look, you wouldn't have to set your stop loss that loose. You could actually set it like tighter and have like maybe a 10% downside risk or something like that. But my main point here is that from a trading perspective, you typically want to trade near significant high time frame levels, because that is where you get the best risk defined setups. So,
we're about to hit it, and this is on the HEX hedron pair. This is what the OA put in, and what happened was, at the time, people like hedron was pumping, and people were swapping their HEX for hedron, but because there wasn't a big HEX hedron liquidity pool, and it was all paired against stuff was mainly paired against USDC, it meant because people were selling their HEX for hedron, it was driving the price of HEX down. So the OA put this big wall to tie the two prices. People kind of took that as, well, it's a wall. We're never going to get over the wall, and it's a limit in the price. But I just want to point out that as you start, first of all, it means that whales can come in and they can buy a lot without much slippage. But the other thing is that as you start eating into that wall, as you start moving through it, everything behind becomes support. That level of liquidity of support, just like it was resistance. This was what was resistance.
Yep.
And so, I hope that answers the question. And I don't think it will actually take that much to eat through that wall if people really want it. And the nice thing is that wall actually ties the HEX and hedron price together. So if hedron is pumping, it's pulling HEX up, and if HEX is pumping, it's pulling hedron up. And the opposite, of course. Yeah.
Hey, I'm just looking at that front end now for ICOSA. It looks really, really nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It works super well.
I'll see if I can bring it up, hey?
If anyone hasn't tried it yet, it's on testnet. Like, just go and like muck around, learn it.
So this is testnet. This is PulseChain testnet.
This is all on PulseChain testnet. Yeah, you can go. Okay. If you look at the HEX tab, that's where your native stakes will be. You'll be able to mint your hedron from your native stakes. You'll be able to create a native stake. You'll be able to end a native stake. You'll be able to good account a native stake. It'll list them all there.
That was a much needed. Can I say that was a much needed option on the hedron website, because people, they forget to go mint their hedron. They forget. When they're ending their HEX stake. You get excited when there's a HEX stake ending, and you go to end it and you're not thinking about the hedron. Whereas if you're using if you're going here, then you've got the option to do that as well if you want to mint your Hedron.
Oh my God, look at that. The hell? Works good. Okay, what about the front? Hey! Ha ha ha! Look at that! Woo! Oh doggy. Wow, this thing actually works great. Well, anyway, Richard Hart here, rumored to be a billionaire, installing a bidet for someone that I love. And it seems to work just fine. It only cost $100, and, well, I don't see any leaks. So, clean butts for everybody. Hex.com, PulseChain.com. See you later.
Clean butts for
Clean butts for everybody. That has to go on our fact sheet going
that should
forward.
have been the title of the show. You fucked up. Gotta call you out. You dropped the ball, Das Bomb.
Wait, can I still change it?
Clean butts for everybody.
I don't know if you can, but if you can, you should try.
BD review, clean butts for everybody.
It is what it is now.
Yes, might as well.
Clean butts for everybody. Save changes. Here you go.
Oh man, that is too funny.
Yeah, we had PP before. Now we have BB.
Big bidet.
Boom.
Billionaire.
Bidet
Nice
billionaire. Boom. That's amazing.
BD. Only beer market things. BD beer market. Bear market.
Oh man.
Clean butt airdrop. The dust bomb. No more.
The dusty bum.
Oh man, that's funny.
Oh my God, you're making me sick again. Just from laughing.
But what was the other story with him getting stopped by the police? Is that a thing in the States? Like when you spend, I don't know, he probably has bought a TV and a camera or whatever, and then he paid cash.
Why? Okay, so Das Bomb, you're not from here. Neither are you, DJ Cryptomatic. You guys got to understand. Yeah. So let me explain why I see things so clearly and everybody else doesn't.
Enlighten us.
I was gone during this whole transitionary period where that shit became normal for people because I was in the military. I was all the way across the other side of the world. So all these things that are now common to people are not common to me. And this is why I see things so clearly versus everybody else. But it takes understanding that you've been bamboozled and being able to admit that. That's the only way you can recognize that's what's happening. This is why so many don't want to acknowledge it. Why do you think Richard Hart was like, what the fuck is this? Because his ass hasn't been here in fucking a decade and a half.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm talking about. I was gone for pretty much all of 2000 through 2010. So when I came back, I saw clearly what the fuck was going on. And it's happened already everywhere else prior to that point in time. Look at Germany now. Germany is a fine example of what Venezuela used to be and where the fuck it's going. In case you don't understand what's going on. Yeah. Yes.
Venezuela.
Look at where you guys are standing right now. You don't even know how you're going to heat your home in the fucking winter. And it's August, bro. And they've been letting your asses know since May. We're going to fuck you this way come this winter. Enjoy. And what do the people do? Nothing. And it's the same thing everywhere because nobody is paying attention. Everybody's too busy living their little lives, not realizing that their lives are being destroyed on purpose. And this is happening everywhere. It's not unique to Germany. It's not unique to the US. Look at what's happening in Sri Lanka, right? Look at what's happening in Bangladesh. Look at what's happening in Pakistan. All these things are not coincidental. They are by design. And the longer that people sit on their laurels, I did a stream yesterday, everybody should watch. Because that information actually applies to everybody, because everybody's being played the same exact way. Everybody. You think you're free. You think you're free, but you're not. You think you're your own sovereign individual, but you're not. You're beholden to some system, and you don't even realize it, because you're being played through many layers of lies. And this is why it's important to understand the tricks being played on you. This is why crypto is also so important. This is the only reason I can even come out and talk about these topics, because we now have a way to actually exit the system and not have to rely on these centralized authorities as they stand. Because if we don't do anything, what's coming is not going to be pretty. And it doesn't matter what you think now. Tell me one time when I've been wrong. I have not. And there's a good reason for that. Not tooting my horn, just notice that the facts play out as they're destined to, because the math does not lie. And people are always going to act the same way. And what we're seeing is not anything new. But if you don't understand what's happening, you can't assess what's going on. You really can't. And this is the bigger part of the problem. We're all adults. I'm not a genius. Everybody is capable of seeing what I'm seeing. It's just a matter of you choosing to want to see it. And that's what's difficult, because, hey, I battled that demon too. So it's not like I'm not aware. But there comes a time, especially after these past 2 years, shit, we're going on 3 here real soon, where you just have to realize that there's a scam going on here. Period. And it's worldwide. Nobody is not living under this scam. Everybody's living under this scam. Doesn't matter if you're in Portugal. Doesn't matter if you're in the US. Doesn't matter if you're in Mexico. If you're not a sovereign individual with that status, you're a slave. Doesn't matter how many zeros you got in your bank account. And that's a fact. And these are things that are going to continue to come to light the further on time continues to progress, as it has been most recently, because the cat is out of the bag now. I no longer sound crazy. I am now consistently proven correct day in and day out. And I'm not the only person, right? There's plenty of other people out there been saying the same thing that I've been saying, because I'm clearly not making this up. This information is coming through many sources. Many funnels are purveying this information. So if you're hearing me and you've never heard this information before and you think I sound crazy, well, you should probably look into it. Because crypto was crazy 12, 13 years ago too. And somehow it went from $0 to $69,000. So it can't be that crazy. Right? I mean, they literally are subjugating people to things that don't make any sense. They continuously obliterate your basic human rights, and we just let them, as if it makes any kind of sense when it doesn't. Now, when is it okay for some nondescript individual to tell you how to earn your income, how to spend your income, how to make them live a better life? Because it's never about you. If it was, you wouldn't have to leave your home country ever. Nobody would ever have to go anywhere, would they? RH wouldn't live in buttfuck Europe. Das Mama wouldn't be in fucking Portugal. And neither would Beard. What's up, homie? So it's all these things that you got to take into account. People don't just leave home because they feel like it. It's because they feel that they have to.
Yep.
I'm only here in the U.S. because I have to be. I've been dying to get out of here, but the best thing I ever did was not leave.
Go where you're treated best. I like this.
Negative.
I like this setup.
That's false. Because all you're doing is letting the bad guys win. Period. So that's wrong. Yeah. It's time to wake up, homie. It's time to wake up. All this running is done, man.
I can't affect the change that I would want in my country of origin.
Not with that frame of thought, because what is needed is education, not negativity. I've never stopped trying to educate others, regardless of your frame of thought, sir. And it continues to work because people need to know they're getting played. Not, oh, I can't do anything. They're winning. No, they're not winning. They're losing. Pay attention to what's going on. They are, in fact, losing. This is exactly why they're ready to invoke pain, maximum level pain, because they want the worst to occur so that they can impose more of their draconian measures. Understand the chess game that's being played. You can't play the game if you don't understand what's happening. So you're better off not even saying anything because you're not adding value. You're, in fact, promulgating their message. And this is what I didn't realize for a long time. Because what you're doing is saying, yes, they're winning. There's nothing for me to do here. Let me just carry on about my business. You're acquiescing. That's called tacit approval. You see? And this is how they get us. And we don't even see it because we think we're doing the right thing by not being aggressive or agitators or whatever negative connotation they want to attach to you standing up for your rights, which is
what is the solution? What is the solution, Will?
Sir? Education. When everybody is saying no,
okay,
you can't do
I'll
this,
give you that.
They can't do
I'll give you that. I agree with you.
Do
Education is the solution.
Do you know that
but it's not
work for you?
dying while you educate. You have to be able to survive.
Brothers,
this is the reason why you put on your mask in
You're
the
putting on excuses. You're putting on
Hey,
excuses.
Kinetic is in the pool.
Hey, what's up, Kinetic?
This is the reason why you put on the mask on
by
yourself
being in the
first
pool.
in the plane, and then you put it on your child or whoever is next to you. If you cannot fucking save yourself, you cannot save everybody else. Save yourselves first, and then try to better the world.
Can I just say, the whole reason that we're here is because people refuse to grow beards.
Dude wipes suck, bro. Dude wipes are the worst wet wipes ever. It's like if you're gonna make a freaking wet wipe for dudes, let it be thick.
They are. So, yeah. Dude, if there's one thing, all right. So people watch, and I'm sure people are curious about the KORN stuff or whatever. But let me tell you what it's like to tour with Brian. Brian doesn't like germs. Okay, I know that much. You don't like germs, dude. I remember sharing. You just always looking so just trying to be so fresh, and we're always on the road. And we shared a bus, and dude, my band, we'd hop on the bus after our set. We'd be stinky, smelly, nasty. Oh my gosh, just you don't want to share a bus with us. And then poor Brian and his team are having to deal with our garbage, dude. Oh my god,
dude, I've been. You know, I'm older than you guys. You were like 25 at the time or something, and I've been on for 11 years of tours. So I've been through the stank stage. I've been through the go to bed with sweat, you know, and all drunk. And so, you know, you guys didn't tour on a bus a lot, did you? Was that how many times you tour on a bus?
You guys were running around in a van when you were down at the 5902 Club, right?
Oh yeah, dude. We went on the road. So us and Deftones were.
Yeah, I remember there's the Deftones played, and I think Sublime was there that night too.
Yeah, and so we were still like struggling bands, you know, and we went on a tour with I think it was a House of Pain Biohazard tour, yeah. And
I remember that one.
And do you know Jeff and Steve Creeth by any chance?
No.
Those names? Okay, they were HB back in the day, but so we bought, like, record company gives us, you know, a certain amount of money to record the record and get a tour budget going. And so we bought it like an older Winnebago and hit the road. And about a week into it, it caught on fire, and we left it on the side of the freeway. Got 2 vans, tried to finish the tour. We ended up finishing the tour, but we got home and we told Immortal Records, Epic Records, we said, if you guys don't get us a tour bus, we're just going to break up. We're not going to tour anymore. And they had already invested so much in us. They were like, okay, we're going to do it. And then everyone started working hard, getting us the tours. We got the Ozzy Osbourne tour. We got the Megadeth tour. We got Danzig tour, Marilyn Manson. And then it started, just the sales started growing because they knew that we had an energetic live show that was, we were
Dude,
unique.
You guys were sick, man. I mean, you came out, you had a gas mask on, you were all bent over, like couldn't even see you, and freaking Jonathan looked crazy. I mean, that, you know, the 5902 is a cool club, And you guys tore that freaking place up that night, man. That
were
was...
you like, were you wondering what the hell was going on when he comes out? Like one time he's wearing a skirt and then he has back.
Yeah, he comes out with his cut off shirt and stuff. I'm like, who the fuck is this freak, right? And then it was, and then you guys freaking just rocked it, man. And that 7-string sound that you guys got, dude, that, like, for me, that revolutionized rock and roll for me, you know, because I was an old school, you know, grunge guy, punk rocker from the past. Like I grew up in Long Beach, you know, Huntington Beach area, all the old punk clubs, Fender's Fabulous Ballroom, the Olympic Auditorium, you know, Fear, and then local bands, all of the Jodie Foster's Army from up your guys' way, and all that stuff. And when you guys came and you guys ripped that 7-string, man, I was like fucking blown away, man. You guys that was something else, man. It was a whole, where did you come up with that sound, man?
I appreciate you saying that, man. I always give all credit to James Monkey, they call him in our band, and he was a big Steve Vai fan. And Steve Vai invented the 7-string with Ibanez, and it just didn't sell well because Steve, I think it did at first and then kind of tapered off, but Steve is like a shredder's guitar player, you know, like he's very, very well respected, but for the masses, they needed someone like us to grab it and to do something innovative, like brand new, and be very innovative with it. And so they got me in the band. James had gotten about 2 7-strings. Our bass player Fieldy switched to 5 strings because the 7-string has a low B string. And so the 5-string bass had the low B string. And so when they're in a band called LAPD, they got the 7-string and the 5-string bass, but they weren't writing songs. Like their sound wasn't based on that low string. And so when I got in the band, every song we wrote from then on was all low 7-string. Every song was just like, it was lower tuned than, you know, Alice in Chains and Helmet.
You guys are down there.
Yeah. It was just
like spaghetti rock, man. That thing was just so low, man, and it was badass, man. I loved it.
But it had a groove too, right? So so low that it was like death metal. It was like it had an energy and a vibe and a hop to it. Because once we saw Rage Against the Machine and bands like that would get the crowd hopping, all we wanted to do is get our crowd hopping and moshing, and you know, and that was it. And so
I retired about a month ago. So I went out to the mosh pit. I took my daughter to go see Fear, actually. That's what
really?
Yeah, so I go to see Fear down here, and I was down in Long Beach, and so I decided, okay, I'm going in the pit. This is it. The old man's getting in there. Now I'm 55. And so I went in there and started, you know, yucking it up. And I even went reverse on these kids, and I was just going at it, and stayed in there all night, and then paid for it for the next 4 days. I could hardly even walk the next 4 days. It was so bad. So I'm like,
that's what happens when I try to drink. The hangover's like 4 days. I can't do anything. I'm 52. I'm right underneath you, bro.
Is that actually functioning now, or is that something that's coming?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we have 3 devs teams now working. We have the marketplace, which will be massive. We have for the past 10 months, we have just had, I think, 20,000 or 30,000 perfumes that we have just like listed, just so people can see how it can like work in the marketplace. But what we are doing now is to add on like hundreds of thousands of more products, and it will be like all the famous brand names and so on. And that means that everyone that is in and buying, they can receive love, cash back. So we are getting adoption already today. We have people buying from the marketplace, which is fantastic. And every purchase of a product that they find maybe on Google, and then they are directed to the loverfi.com website, that means a buy order of love. So we are accumulating a lot of like buy orders already today, because like a percentage, I think we are sitting on like 4-5% is like including like love. So that means that every time a young girl in Texas, she buys a perfume online, then she gets, love. How can I get my love? Yeah, it's not released yet. We're waiting for PulseChain mainnet to be launched, and then you can download a MetaMask wallet, you can download any Ethereum-based wallet, change the settings, and then you can receive your love cashback that you now is earning. And then we're getting adoption from in a natural way, very similar. We have taken that concept a lot from Amazon, how Amazon did it. They also used the concept of blitzscaling. So they did back in 2004, when Google got listed and they introduced AdWords. They made a cooperation with Google. And basically that when you made a search for a product on Google, then you found it, if it was like a perfume, for example, and then, I want to buy that product. And then you was directed to Amazon, and then you had to register an account to be able to buy that product. So that was how Amazon went from being a bookstore online to become like the world's largest e-commerce platform. And we are using a lot of that concept as well, but integrating then love cryptocurrency into the system. So it's a lot of, and the other what we are working on is an influencer, a search platform that also is almost finalized. It's a team actually in Lithuania, is that team working on the influencer search platform. And what we are doing there is to build a worldwide global search platform for influencers, where you basically can go in and search for an influencer, and then when you find an influencer, a brand or a company, then they can pay with love. So they are giving some love to the influencer. The influencer can then earn love. They can also pick products if they like. If you have an Instagram girl, she maybe likes a perfume or Louis Vuitton bag or whatever, she can just post it on her Instagram, and then she can earn love when her followers or fans are buying it.
Gotcha.
So it's a lot of integrating what we say the Web3, the Internet of Value, the value exchange. But we are actually bringing real today functional e-commerce models, and then integrate love cryptocurrency into it. So a lot of different things we're working on. Yeah.
All right, so I've been a computer guy for a while. I grew up on the computer. I grew up playing computer games like World of Warcraft. I played video games a lot. So I had this idea of what virtual currency was. Now, I never knew really about Bitcoin until 2017. So I was working at a pet store. I was making $9 an hour. I had $400 to my name. And a coworker of mine by the name of Daniel Gotch tells me, I made 50 grand in Bitcoin. And I'm like, I've heard Bitcoin before. I just never really got into it. I'm like, what exactly is this? So I started going down the rabbit hole. And he ended up being my mentor. So at the time, I was actually in a big family argument with my uncle. And we got into the phone. We got on the phone screaming at each other. And I'm like, this side of the family really needs to make money. And I'm sitting here and I'm trying to put the $500 into cryptocurrency, hopefully making 100 grand so I can help my father out. And he's like, wait a minute, cryptocurrency. And then 5 minutes later, it's like the argument never happened. He's like, listen, I'm going to give you 2 grand to put into cryptocurrency. And I'm going to hope to see if you can make money in this as an investment prospect. So he gave me 2 grand and I put it in through my bank account on Coinbase in 2017 in the middle of June. Now I put it in Ethereum when it was $80. Now 3 days later, Ethereum went to 100 and around $30. So $2,000 turned into $3,200 in about 3 days. And for someone who was making $9 an hour and was working 25 hours a week to make $200, basically, That was something I've never experienced before. And that was the aha moment where I was like, wow, there's something in this world where you can actually make money without actually working. So I went down the rabbit hole, and I would talk to my uncle every single day about this for hours, while simultaneously talking to my friend Daniel, who was a mentor of mine, taught me about exchanges, taught me how to send cryptocurrency, taught me about the coins that he was in. I mean, a lot of these coins now are not well known. He was in Gollum. He was in Bitcoins, which turned into Ethos, which turned into Voyager. And unfortunately, he got let go from the company because he was paying for homeless veterans, dog and cat food that were coming in. And I guess the company was not a fan of that, so they fired him. And then he moved out to Ohio and built a house for his homeless cousins, and I haven't heard from him since. So I'm hoping that through my platform I can somehow reconnect with him and thank him, because I owe him for that. Then fast forward to 2018, the market collapses. I didn't make anything. I saw my portfolio go up to 6 figures and back down to $1,100 in 3 months' time. I got really depressed. I gained a bunch of weight. I couldn't leave the house. I started going to Emotions Anonymous because I just had no out. I became extremely agoraphobic. I would sleep constantly. And I was like, I have to stop because I was making $200 a week with $200 to my name and putting $180 in and living off of $20 to $50 a week. And it was just not sustainable. So I was like, I have to find a way to be able to invest in this market without actually putting my own money in. So I got into this cryptocurrency project called Sharder. It's no longer around, but I was their main Telegram administrator, and I was also one of their main writers. And then I wrote an article about an interoperable protocol called Icon in 2018, and it got the attention of the founder. So then I applied for their ambassador program, and I became an ambassador, and then became one of their main community ambassadors for 2 years, up until 2021. Worked for a project called Katina, and then I got into a project called Argo, which is basically a hybrid blockchain project out of South Korea that I'm still with. And then I stumbled upon HEX at a transcendental meditation course, actually. So,
really? Wow.
So the week before that, I get this postcard in the mail, and it's HEX, and I'm like, what is this garbage? I was like, seriously, I was like, what is this? And I threw it out. 2 weeks later, I go to a transcendental meditation course, and I'm at a pizzeria right next door after. And one of the classmates was like, hey, Corey, what do you do for a living? I'm like, well, I went to school to be a teacher, but, I'm really heavily into the crypto game now. And he's like, he looked at me, and his wife gave me the dirtiest of looks and was like, do not get my husband started with this. It's been 6 months he's been in this. He hasn't shut up about it. So he's like, have you ever heard of HEX? And I'm like, yeah, but I really never got into it. So then fast forward 2 weeks later, I started getting bored in this market. So one of the traders that I follow on Twitter, his name is Harry Illiquid Markets, he brought up PulseChain. And I went down the rabbit hole, and I was researching PulseChain. I'm like, wow, this is a big deal. So at the time, my YouTube was a dying channel. I got let go from my other company, and I went from 700 subscribers to like 520 in a matter of 2 weeks. So I was a dying YouTube channel. And so I was like, you know what? This is going to be my last chance to get my YouTube channel up and running. And I interviewed a few people in the PulseChain community. This was the time where HEX was 50 cents. And the first videos I put up went from, I was usually making 100. I was getting 100 to 300 views. These videos got 3.5K, 4K, 6K. Then Richard Hart tweeted one of them that I had with HodPro that now has 10K almost. And I was like, this is a community that's here to stay.
Yeah.
So as I started going down the rabbit hole, I started noticing that a lot of projects were launching on PulseChain, but a lot of them weren't given the time of day because they weren't HEX, they weren't PulseChain. At the time, no one knew about PulseX, but they weren't PulseChain. And I'm like, you know what? I can corner this market and be that niche channel that gives these projects a voice. Because at the time, a lot of people were unfortunately very resistant to giving these new projects a platform. So a couple months in, I stumbled upon Love.io, and I believe his name was David, asked if I wanted to do an interview with Anders. And I said, yeah. And we did the interview, and we spoke about what Love did, how Love would change the landscape for cryptocurrency and microtipping. And one of the main reasons why I was so passionate about this is that as a YouTuber, when you start monetizing your channel, especially with YouTube, super chats, I'm not sure if you know, but with super chats, they take 30% from you.
Yeah.
So I did a live stream with David Feeder last week. My super chat total revenue was $250 for that stream. I ended up getting 170, and that's just not acceptable. And for small-time content creators who do this a lot, this is somewhat of our livelihood.
Yeah.
And super chats, basically, taking that much money away from us is just unacceptable. So I looked at Love and I was like, this is something that can nullify that and actually let me have my revenue stream back. Because I'm sick and tired of making $100 a stream and then walking away with 65 to 70. It's just unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started researching what Anders did for a living, and I was like, wow, he worked with Diacrit, really brought that company up. And I started realizing, I was like, the one thing I really liked about Love besides the micro tipping was the business aspect. It's not being run like your typical cryptocurrency. It's being run from a business standpoint. And like Andrew said before, he has large successes in the business and technology sector. And one thing I noticed as I was interviewing a lot of these projects was that, yeah, these projects sound awesome. They sound great. They sound like they have a lot of potential, but a lot of them were not looking to onboard fresh capital outside of HEX. And I didn't like the idea that, because I saw this in other communities, that they were just making projects for each other. So like, okay, we're just building a larger conglomerate of projects for the same people.
Right.
So, as you've seen with Anders in every conference, the guy lives out of a suitcase, travels constantly, and is really trying to get fresh capital into this ecosystem. And that's what I appreciated the most, because I was looking at these projects and I was like, it seems like this is one of the only projects that's really focusing on onboarding outside users through a method that, okay, this is Love. This is a universal language. Love is a part of PulseChain. Love is you could call it a distant step of separation with HEX because we are hexagons. Right. This is a great way to onboard users into HEX, onto PulseChain, and also to onboard people, most importantly, to Love, because the simple fact that, one, it uses a language everyone's familiar with. 2, content creation is booming, especially in cryptocurrency, and people are getting their live streams, their revenue siphoned left and right, because the fact that super chats take 30%, centralized media content creation platforms take all your money, or a lot of it, and Love nullifies that. And going to conferences constantly speaks for itself. And I think that Love.io has legitimate potential because of what Andrew said, Metcalfe's law, blitzscaling through the name, understanding human psychology through past, where we see like how the top friends on MySpace, through the likes on Facebook, through the friend requests, sending love is more than just sending money, which is, we're grateful when we get sent money, but there's more of a meaning to it when you say, I'm going to send love. So I said to Anders about, what was it about 5 months ago, Anders? 5-6 months ago?
Yeah.
Official ambassador.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So what it means for me is to grow my YouTube channel so that I can help grow Love. I've onboarded some ambassadors, actually Accountability Nation, who was very well known in the fitness space. He's a gentleman who started a fitness journey, got into crypto in 2021. And I found his story inspiring, and I onboarded him, and I was like, this is a really, really, really good opportunity for him to be part of something that's kind of similar to what he's doing. He wants to love himself through fitness, and people love him because of it. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to get him, because he's a good dude, and now he's an ambassador as well. So Love.io to me, in summary, is I like how 3 things. It's run like a business, not like a token, which is very important to amalgamate legacy finance and cryptocurrency. Anders has a past of success, actually more than 3, has a past success in business and finance and technology. It helps content creators bring back their own sense of revenue streams. So if you don't have a gajillion subscribers, you can actually have at least some revenue. And
Right.
4, the name speaks for itself in the English language, which is the second largest language on the planet. So that's what it means to me, and that's why I really appreciate Love and what it's doing. And 5, it's garnering, it's looking at HEX and PulseChain garnering outside capital instead of just making a project for the pre-existing investors.
Yeah. The question is, will we have that Black Swan event? That's my only concern here coming up in October. So hopefully not, but things look like they're leading in that direction. Yeah, I think there's 2 things that I see. There's like 2 ends of the spectrum. On one hand, it's probably driven by China's housing market collapsing. They say it could be 100 times worse than 2008. 100 times. I mean, everyone was in real estate, and they've tried to prop it up. So the question is this: when you're the Communist Party and ruling, and the people, excuse me, do not, they're out in the streets. I mean, it's one thing for people in the U.S. to protest. It's another thing if you're in China protesting, right? You know better.
Yeah, you got some.
You
got some cojones. You're out there in China.
If you're out there,
Something's really wrong. Like, you're not making it day to day.
And they're concerned. I think the Communist Party is concerned, at least the leadership, not just communism in general, but I think the leadership is really challenged with, do we stay in power if this goes that far? So, what happens when people get painted into a corner? And that's not considering, Russia, but, Taiwan and all the stuff that's happening there. I think it's a geopolitical issue, I think what is the Black Swan event. So that's kind of the practical side. I think the other side is somebody sets off a nuke. I mean, that's the thing I didn't even want to think about, but that would be another Black Swan event. But I think a combination, between those 2 goalposts is kind of where I see things potentially happening. But, we just don't have the right leadership. And, I think China could waltz right into Taiwan. And it's unfortunate. But I don't see leadership being very strong. That's an understatement.
What I like about, the whole idea of Discourse Syndicate is like, okay, we have this, this coin. There's a debate going on in the space, and those who don't know anything are just sit there and watch and try to understand what's it all about. And those who are having their first understanding, there will have questions coming up like, okay, I'm not sure how this works. I want to understand what this mechanism enables us to do.
What's cool about what Discourse Syndicate did is that every one of us here, we learned, we defended, and we educated the whole community here. That's what happened. Like, you saw it real time. You can go back to our earliest streams and see that we didn't know shit. Well, I didn't definitely know shit, but some of the guys did. But we learned along the way. We unpeeled the onion. We looked at all the questions of HEX. We defended against all the people that were fudding and saying incorrect things, which they still do to this day, which is funny as hell.
Yeah, it's like we don't exist, right?
Like they go back to old, like 3-year-old narrative that had been debunked, then to write articles. They're literally writing articles with this trash in it, garbage.
It's crazy to think that we are definitely at year 3 of the nonsense.
Yep,
we are. And it still exists in its same form that it did 3 years ago, which doesn't surprise me because the Maxis love living in the past. They just love it. They're tech people that love it. What can be worse than a tech geek, basement dwelling fuckbag that is living in the past? There's nothing worse than that. That's
they still have their Apple IIe computers, and they're so excited about them. Their Apple IIe Maximalist.
Oh
Riz, do you know what Circuit City's return policy is these days?
It's not good.
Right up there with Celsius, right?
Pretty much. Oh shit. That's so foul. That's funny.
Yeah,
hey,
Circuit
guys.
City and Celsius took your shit.
Because because the captain said such nice things about me earlier, I also want to say RG3 is looking a lot less fat these days. I mean, no, seriously, I saw him the other day. He's looking not so pudgy.
Not so pudgy.
I was a fat tub of goo, man. I was a tub of goo.
And
Yep.
too bad your parts in the movie couldn't have been filmed after you got yourself all ripped and jacked. Right?
I know. Now I look all the video. Oh yeah, that was in the bad days.
At least now you've got a before and after.
You looked formidable though. It was good. You know, we could walk down the street and no one's gonna mess with us. You know, now you might look like a victim.
Well, you're not going to be recognizable.
You just look like a
I didn't even
Well, that's
hear that.
kind of what I want is unrecognizable. You know, take my bandana off, walk down the street. People are like,
Yeah, once you take the bandana off, it's game over.